So this is the 19th ranked team in college football. Mark Rogers TV giving you some instant analysis on South Florida and San Jose State. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for the best in college football coverage, not only from myself, but if you go through the videos, you will see that we have on the best bloggers and broadcasters from across the industry. All right, so the Bulls win it 42-22 over San Jose State. Charlie Strong's debut, almost a disaster, or at least in the first quarter, down 16-0. So we can assess this performance by, again, the number 19 team in the country a number of ways. Were they just down and sluggish, coming cross-country, trying to adjust to a new coaching staff and getting caught up against a team that had nothing to lose? That possibly could be the case. We see it all the time. But a lot of indications that South Florida has a number of issues to clean up, or maybe it doesn't, because we're talking about the 19th ranked team in the country, but not a typical number 19 team that has to go then play in a Power 5 conference against 5 or 6, 7 difficult opponents in an 8-game conference schedule. For South Florida, they've got some breathing room. Stony Brook, the home opener next week. Quentin Flowers never looked bad in this game. He just wasn't given time to run or throw, or in the first quarter, as San Jose State, the defensive effort was exceptional early in the game. The first 4 drives were punts for South Florida, many of them 3-and-outs, and San Jose State's defenders getting into the backfield, making life silly for Quentin Flowers, making him look awfully bad. Again, it wasn't his doing, but he just didn't have time. And then suddenly South Florida remembered who they were and who they were playing. But they were doing this against a team that finished 4-8 last year, had its one Power 5 opponent, Iowa State, the second worst team in the Big 12, beat them up at 44-10. Again, 4-8. The coach left, Ron Carragher. He was ousted and replaced by Brent Brennan, who is trying to rebuild a San Jose State program that hasn't been the same since Mike McIntyre left for Colorado. Dearness Johnson only ran for 99 yards on 22 carries, so it seems like a decent effort, but consider 50 yards on 1 run. So it's not like the Bulls really ran it ahead for much success against, again, a defense that was marginal at best last season in San Jose State. South Florida off to an awful start in this one, had a punt blocked, had 2 difficult punt attempts by Jonathan Hernandez, one an 18-yarder that set up a touchdown drive by the Spartans. Hernandez ended up punting 11 times, so South Florida was not a juggernaut on offense in this game. So Josh Love, a quarterback for San Jose State who struggled last year with only 2 touchdown passes in the time that he played, threw 3 interceptions, 2 of those deflected passes. So South Florida didn't face a superior passer in this game. As we look down the schedule, we see that South Florida probably has 3 major tests, at least if you look at the schedule. Temple on September 21st. They've got Houston. They've got the game at Central Florida to conclude 2017, the rivalry game on November 24th. But Temple and Houston, the one Big Ten game is against Illinois at home. Probably not going to be a difficult game there either. So South Florida dodges a bullet. They get down 16-0. They've got plenty of time to bounce back, and they win easily in the second half by 20 as they turn over San Jose State a number of times, and Quentin Flowers starts to get the offensive game plan going. He had 212 yards passing, and he also ran for 70 yards and a touchdown. South Florida wins at 42-22. I don't know that this is a top 25 football team right now. We will see if they develop, but then again, we won't get really any opportunities to see them against a top flight Power 5 opponent to assess this football team, but we'll see how it plays out. They are going to have to be dominant and have some chips fall in their direction to have a sniff at getting to a college football playoff. Most likely they being tagged as the new Houston, who was the new Memphis, who was the new Boise State, who was the new TCU. They are the group of 5, conceivably at this point, despite what we saw from Colorado State, most likely the Group of Five's hope to at least get into the discussion in November, unlike what Houston was able to do last year in falling to Navy and then to Memphis down the line. All right, talking some South Florida football. Would like to hear what you have to say about the Bulls' chances of at least getting some conversation pointed their way in November, right here on Mark Rogers TV.